So it's been a few months since my last update to you guys about what cards my wife and I are using in our 2-player strategy. So I thought it's time to give an update on exactly what cards are in our wallets, because there's been a few new cards that we've opened. So let me share with you what those cards are and also give you an update on how my credit card strategy is going this year. So to catch you back up to speed, in my last video, my wife and I were holding a total of 4 cards between us. We had the HSBC Star Alliance credit card, the Amex Platinum Edge, the Amex Explorer, and the ANZ Travel Rewards card. All of these cards are still in a rotation for the time being, but we're unsure if we're going to keep the HSBC Star Alliance credit card next year. Whilst I could theoretically hit the spend requirement to maintain my gold status, I'm not sure if it's worth paying the $499 annual fee to keep using this next year, especially since we don't have that many plans to travel internationally as of right now. Let me know what you guys think and whether you'd actually pay that $499 annual fee to keep gold status. We've also agreed that we'll be closing our ANZ Travel Rewards card before the annual fee renewal next year, since, as I mentioned before, we don't have that many plans to travel as frequently internationally and don't think it's worth paying the $129 annual fee anymore. We will, however, continue to hold on to our Explorer and Platinum Edge cards for the foreseeable future as our keeper cards. With how hard it's actually gotten to get approved for Amex credit cards, especially for those who have a history of churning cards, we would rather not risk closing those cards and then facing any issues opening them again in the future. For those cards, we almost see them as cost neutral since you get the annual travel credit to offset the annual fee. And even if we don't plan to do as many international trips moving forward, we will still most likely travel domestically, and we can use those travel credits for hotel bookings. Now, as for our new cards, since March, my wife and I have opened 3 new cards between us, which honestly is not that many at all. 3 cards in 6 months between 2 people is like 1 card every 4 months, which we've definitely opened up more in the past. But as I did outline in my credit card strategy video at the start of the year, we were making a conscious effort to reduce the number of credit card applications we would be making this year, as we wanted to focus on redeeming the existing points that we already had, as there's no real point in hoarding a whole bunch of points and not using them due to the constant devaluations we see across all frequent flyer programs. We've been a lot more selective on which cards we open. Generally, we now only focus on signing up for new cards when there's upsized sign-up offers or promotions. So in terms of the new cards that we've signed up, for myself, I've opened 2 new cards. These include the Virgin Velocity Flyer card back in April, which I've since actually closed now. And then more recently, I've also opened up the Westpac Altitude Velocity card. Both of these cards I opened during the Velocity frequent flyer promotion, which they run twice a year and are still running right now until the end of September. So if you want to take advantage of that, then you might want to get onto it pretty quickly. This meant that it earned me an additional 20,000 Velocity points on top of the individual card offers available. I've spoken about the Velocity Flyer card numerous times on my channel now, as I think it's probably one of the best Velocity points earning credit cards in terms of overall value, since you do receive a $129 Velocity travel credit, which offsets the annual fee. The card overall did get nerfed quite a bit this year, as they reduced the sign-up bonus from $60,000 to $50,000, whilst also nearly doubling the annual fee from $79 to $149. But even with these changes, I still think it's great value, especially when compared to all the other options in the market. Plus, this is one of the only remaining cards in the market without any specific exclusion periods. So you technically don't have to wait 12 months or 18 months to sign up again. I've personally signed up for this card like 3 times now in the past 18 months, and the trick that I've found is to sign up with a different email address each time. The Westpac Altitude Velocity Platinum card actually has an upsized sign-up bonus of 75,000 points right now, and if you're an existing customer, they'll reduce the first year annual fee down to $49. But take note that you'll still need to pay the $75 annual Velocity Reward Program fee. The Altitude program did also undergo a pretty significant devaluation in terms of their ongoing earn rates. With this card, you'll now only earn 0.5 velocity points instead of 0.75 velocity points on everyday purchases. So a 33% reduction, which is pretty significant. There's also new caps on earn rates. So previously, once you spent over $10,000, then the earn rate reduced down to 0.25 velocity points, whilst now the cap has essentially halved down to $5,000. And then after that, you'll only be earning 0.2 velocity points. So unfortunately, across most cards, devaluations have been occurring, either in the form of reduced benefits, earn rates, or increased exclusion periods across cards. Now, between these two cards for myself, I earned a total of 70,000 velocity points for the Flyer card when you also factor in the bonus, and then 95,000 points for the Westpac card, or for a grand total of around $273 in annual fees paid. For my wife, she's actually opened the one new card, which is also the Westpac Altitude Velocity back in April. At that time, the sign-up bonus was only 60,000 velocity points, so she only earned a total of 85,000 points for the same $129 annual fee. So between the both of us across all three cards, we've been able to earn 250,000 velocity points for just over $400, which is pretty good value in my opinion, as that's more than enough for a business class trip for both of us to Asia. And quickly, if you want to stay up to date with the latest credit card updates from myself, then make sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter, where I also share one credit card deal of the week each week. Links will be down below. Now, if it wasn't obvious from before, we've basically been focused solely on earning velocity points, as we just genuinely find that award seat availability is much better with Virgin, and you also have the flexibility to transfer your velocity points to KrisFlyer if you wanted to. Now, one of my strategies this year was to also redeem our frequent flyer points wherever possible, because like I said before, I don't think it's good practice to be hoarding your points. You should ideally be spending your points as quickly as possible once they come in, because there are inevitably going to be devaluations that occur over time, which we've seen several times this year. And I'm happy to report that we did do that. We actually spent all of our remaining velocity points and more back in February, because we managed to find reward flights over the Christmas and New Year period to Korea and Japan. So here's a breakdown of our travel plans and the costs associated with each flight we booked in terms of points and fees. And note that the figures I'm using are per person. So for our first leg, we'll be flying with Singapore Airlines in Premium Economy to Singapore. This cost us 51,000 KrisFlyer miles and $112.66 in taxes and fees. Then the very same day, we're flying from Singapore to Seoul in economy, which costs us an additional 27,000 KrisFlyer miles and $65.20 in fees. We'll be staying in Seoul for around 3 to 4 days, and then we'll be flying from Seoul to Fukuoka with Korea Air, which we did purchase a cash fare for around $250. We'll be spending around 8 days road tripping around the Kyushu region, and then from Fukuoka, we're actually flying back to Melbourne via Singapore, sitting in Singapore Airlines business class, which was booked through Virgin Australia for around 104,000 velocity points plus $451.65 in taxes and fees. So the total cost of our trip per person came to 78,000 KrisFlyer miles and 104,000 velocity points and $879.51. The cash fare equivalent for the same flights that we booked equated to around $5,440 at the time of the booking. I'm not sure if that's the same price now, given that we've obviously been flying during high season, so they might have increased already. So let me know if you guys think that that booking was worth it. We did have to transfer some of our velocity points to KrisFlyer at a rate of 1 to 1.55, so we did lose a bit of value there. but I think it's definitely an awesome deal given that we were able to fly pretty much all of us flights in reward seats over the Christmas and New Year period. We all know that booking reward flights over holiday periods like Christmas, New Year's, and school holidays is extremely difficult due to the amount of demand that there is during those periods. This is actually the first time my wife and I have even attempted to travel over this period. We've usually disregarded traveling over this time due to how expensive it usually is with cash fares. But because we both have to take mandatory leave over this period, we thought we'd see if there were any reward seats available. And surprisingly, with a little bit of research and flexibility, we found these reward seats. The one tip that I have for you guys if you want to try your luck at booking reward flights during a high season like this is using a positioning flight. This is when you buy a flight to an intermediary airport, and from there you actually begin your journey to your final destination. In our case, our intermediary airport was Singapore, whilst our final destination was Seoul and Japan. Once you're out of Australia, it's actually a lot more easier to find reward seats to the final destination that you're actually trying to get to. Now, in terms of credit cards that we'd look to open in the remainder of the year, I don't know what they are just now, but I think there's probably room for 1 to 2 more cards between my wife and I. And if the proposed changes by the RBA with regards to removing surcharges and reducing the interchange fees gets passed next year, then we will probably see an even bigger devaluation across the credit cards reward space. There's still luckily around 11 months until those changes would get implemented, so we still have some time to churn through a few more cards. So those are the cards that are in our wallets right now. Let me know what cards you guys are currently using in your rotation, as I'm always interested in knowing. If you have enjoyed the content today, make sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe for more credit card related content in the future. And if you want to learn more about credit card hacking and earning frequent flyer points, then check out this video right here. Hopefully I'll see you there. If not, in a future video. Thanks again for watching.